Introductions?
Yeah, I'll start. We're really happy to be here. Thank you so much for coming out. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to each introduce ourselves, and then we're going to open to questions, because we always feel like you guys have specific things that you may want to know, and it's more fun for us than just standing up here and talking. So I'm Veronica Rossi. Oh, you switched it. This is my second book in a trilogy for young adults, and it's a post-apocalyptic trilogy. And the second book, Into the Still Blue, will be out in January. The first book, Under the Never Sky, came out last year. And it's a story about teenagers in a future world that's devastated by these very violent energy storms. And it's written back and forth between two protagonists, Arya, who comes from a very advanced society that lives within an enclosed city, and Peregrine, who is sort of the direct opposite of Arya, and he lives in the external world that has really regressed and become very primitive, and it's a very harsh existence. So these are direct opposites, Arya and Carey, and the story begins in Under the Never Sky, when she's cast out of her enclosed city for committing a crime that she did not, that she's innocent of. So, and she's going to die in the outer world unless she's able to find a way back home into this enclosed city. So it's also his parallel story. There's a romance. I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that. And this is the second book, and as I mentioned, the third one will be out in January. So without further ado, passing the baton.
I was waiting for the baton.
Oh, wait, the microphone.
Yeah.
Well,
But
you guys can hear us, right?
Yeah.
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 Hi guys, I'm Tahereh Mafi. I am the author of the Shatter Me series. This is Unravel Me, the second book in the series. The first book came out in 2011. This one just came out in February. And it is a story about a 17-year-old girl named Juliet who's a lethal touch. And she's living in a dystopian society where the government wants to use her as a weapon in their war. And she has to make a choice. Is she going to let them use her as a weapon, or is she going to fight back for the first time in her life and be a warrior? And this story, it's the journey of her self-discovery and finding out what it means to be human and learning to accept herself as this like extraordinary person with these crazy abilities and not seeing herself as a monster. And there's definitely a romance, lots of kissing for a girl who can't touch people. and plot twist. And yeah, so I hope you like it.
Hey, I'm Randsom. I wrote Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is over there. Can we do that on purpose with the Peregrine thing, Veronica?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was,
Yeah, I don't hear that word a lot. So that's cool. That's clearly why we're
touring together.
meant to tour together. And it's about a normal kid from a little boring town in Florida, not unlike my own, who goes on to discover an island full of peculiar children who do magical things, and there's many twists, and it's filled with vintage photographs that are real that I found in antique stores and at swap meets and in the collections of people who do this sort of thing semi-professionally, collecting old photos, which Kimberly knows all about. Yeah. I've met a few people along the way who were like, I do that too. Oh, there's more than one of us. Weird. The second book comes out next year in January. And then along the way, while I was collecting those pictures, I was collecting the pictures for this book, Talking Pictures, which is it's a photo book. It's not a story, but the pictures each tell a story because they have writing on them. The writing was written long ago by whoever owned them or took them or anything. People ask me, like, did you write that? Did you write the things on it? And I'm like, I can't change my handwriting that much. So, that's me.
I am Carey. I'm the author of the Eve trilogy, and all three books are out now. The last and final title is Rise, and that came out on April 2nd. So I am done with my series. So just a little bit about the books, for those of you who don't know. Eve takes place 16 years after a virus wiped out most of the population, and the world, specifically America, is a very perilous place. We meet Eve, the main character, on the night before her graduation, and she has been raised in an all-girls school. It's actually more of a compound, though. There are these high walls around the perimeter, and the girls are taught a lot of skewed things. They're taught to fear men, and they're also taught that to go beyond the wall would mean certain death, that they don't have survival skills and they could never make it outside the school. So she believes when she graduates, she's gonna leave this school and go across the compound to this trade school where she'll learn a trade, and then she'll eventually go on to the city of Sand, which is where a king is assembling the survivors and kind of rebuilding. He calls it the New America. So she's really excited about this, and in a twist of events, she finds out that that is not actually what's going to happen to these girls, that they're actually being used for a much darker purpose. And she flees. She escapes the school. She goes beyond the wall. And that moment when she leaves is really when her life begins. And most of the series, she's on the run from the king's men. She meets a boy. She falls in love, despite all she's been taught. And that is kind of Eve, yes.
Hi, my name's Cynthia Hand. I am the author of the Unearthly series, and I too am done with all my series.
Yeah.
It's over. So this is the third book in the trilogy, Boundless, and they all come out about a year. They've all come out about a year, apart from each other. So Unearthly is the story of a 16-year-old girl named Clara Gardner, whose mother has told her a couple of years previous to this that she is part angel, and Clara doesn't really know quite what to make of that. And her mother tells her that all of these part angel people have this purpose that they're put on Earth to fulfill, and that when she's old enough, then she'll start to get a vision of what that purpose is. And so Unearthly opens with her having a vision of this boy standing in the middle of a forest fire, and so she assumes that she's supposed to save this boy as her purpose on Earth, and that leads her to move from California as she's sort of piecing together the clues of her vision to this little town in Wyoming called Jackson, Wyoming. And then she gets to be the new girl at school and meets the mysterious boy and tries to figure out what she's supposed to do with him and her life in general. And Hallowed, which is the second book, is sort of after the fire and trying to figure out maybe if you think you've messed up your purpose in life, what do you do, in that situation? And then Boundless is sort of about redefining your